Hi, it's Trisha Hope with Just the Tweets, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. I think it's been about 3 weeks since I posted a video. I attended the Fayetteville, North Carolina rally on September 9th, and it was a great rally. President Trump went there to try to help a couple of candidates in North Carolina. I believe, let's see, it was Dan Bishop and Greg Murphy were the candidates, and Greg Murphy had a pretty good lead, but Dan Bishop was down 17%, 17 points against his challenger, and prior to President Trump getting involved. And so President Trump went to a rally for him on the 9th, and the election was on the 10th. And again, Bishop was down 17 points, and on election day, he won by 3 points. So that's a huge, huge difference that the president was able to make for Dan Bishop. And I know that Dan Bishop is probably very happy about it, but also probably very many North Carolinians are happy about that as well, as we were able to capture another congressional seat in North Carolina. So that was a big deal, and President Trump did a great job with the rally, as he always does. He's so much fun to watch and listen to. He's funny, he's entertaining, and he's informative, and that's a lot for one person to be able to do, and he does it on such a consistent basis that it's really remarkable. So it's a very cool rally. I'm really glad I went. It was the first one I've ever attended on my own, so it was a little bit more work for me, and I have a whole new appreciation for what Dave does when we go to these rallies, because carrying books and all the other things that go along with this is a lot of work. So I want to thank Dave for everything he does for Just the Tweets. So on my way back from Fayetteville, I was listening to the Rush Limbaugh show, as I always do, and I heard a lady call in. Her name was Jill, and she was really, really upset about the president's tweets. She says she was telling Rush that she believes his tweets will cause him to lose the election. And Rush, as he typically does, kind of was asking questions, trying to get to the bottom of what she was really thinking. And what it came down to was she was afraid that because of the president's tweets, other people might not vote for him for president. Not that she wasn't going to, because she still supports the president, but she's concerned that his tweets were going to cause other people not to vote for him. And Rush really didn't buy into that too much, but he asked for callers. So I called, and it's hard to get through to the Rush Limbaugh show. Everybody calls. So I called repeatedly, and it was busy, but I did finally get through, and I was shocked. I thought for sure I'd dialed the wrong number, but I didn't. And I was able to speak to Mr. Snerdley, and I told him that I'd been to 23 rallies, and that I was actually driving home from Fayetteville from the rally the night before. And I told him that as part of what I do, I walk up and down these lines, and I talk to people in the lines waiting, and I talk to them specifically about the president's tweets because of our books. So I had, very firsthand knowledge of what the people in these lines think about the president's tweets, and that I really felt like I had a insight that maybe not many other people would have. And so Mr. Snerdley put me through to speak to Rush, and I told Rush that. And what I said was that when I ask people about the president's tweets, they tell me that when a news story breaks, and that if it sounds ludicrous, which many of them do, the first thing they do is go to the president's Twitter account, and they wait to see if he's tweeted about it. They wait to see if he says, okay, fake news, or partially fake news, or whatever it is, whatever his response is. They wait for his response because they cannot count on the media. They don't trust the media. They don't believe a word the media says. And only when the president tells his side of whatever the story is, do they come away feeling like they've been informed. That's big. So the president's tweets to these people are news. That's where they get their news. They don't rely on the media. They rely on the president, and the media has created that, not the president. the media, because of their fake news stories, has created a situation where the president must speak out and tell the truth. And the people recognize this and they wait for him to do so. And so I was able to tell Rush this and get my point across. And I believe it added some value to that show. I've received a lot of calls and text messages and emails and different things from people asking me why I didn't take the opportunity to plug the book. Well, I didn't plug the book because Mr. Snerdley is aware of the book. I've spoken to him about the book, and it wasn't my place to do that. That would have been disrespectful. If they wanted me to mention the book, they would have asked me about the book because they were aware of the book, and I wasn't going to disrespect them in that way. I started listening to Rush Limbaugh because of my mother, and my mother has since passed. But it was one of the things we would do together. I would pick her up from her home, and we would drive to the doctor's appointment in Houston where she had to have some eye treatments done. And we would, on the way back, we would always listen to Rush Limbaugh. We'd stop and get a hamburger and fries or whatever. And she always had to have a small drink because, God forbid, they give her the big drink. She would have been very upset if she got the big drink. So anyway, we would listen to Rush Limbaugh together on the way back. And it's just one of my favorite memories about my mother and my relationship. Our bonding over politics was very special to me, and I was not going to tarnish that in any way by trying to put in a plug for my book. My mom would not have appreciated it, and I just wasn't going to do it, so I didn't. But it was still a very special moment to be able to be on Rush Limbaugh, and all I could think about was how proud my mother would have been at that moment. So that was that, and it was a cool day. So I was unable to go to the New Mexico rally. Wanted to. It was killing me because I used to live in New Mexico for a short period of time, and I love New Mexico. It's a beautiful state, and I would have loved to have been there. Rio Rancho is just outside of Albuquerque, and I lived in Albuquerque, so it would have been neat to be there. But unfortunately, I just couldn't make it. I've got an event coming up in D.C. next week, and it would have been just too big a stretch to drive from Maryland to New Mexico, back to Maryland to go to D.C. on the 25th. So we missed it. And it's hard. It's hard to watch it on television and not be there after going to 23 rallies. You feel like you're missing something, and it's just very difficult to sit and watch it on television. But it was neat last night because the president did mention two people that I know. The gentleman who wears the border wall suit. He's been actually on stage with the president once before, and he mentioned him again last night. But he also mentioned a friend of ours, Richard Snowden, he's known as one of the best dressed men in the rally lines. He always wears a suit and a tie, and last night he was wearing a red tie, which the president mentioned, and so that was very cool, and congratulations to Richard for that, because I know it would be very cool to be noticed by the president, and that's a special feeling. Many of us have been to many rallies, and it's nice to see and know that the president recognizes that some of us have been there a few times. So that's pretty cool, and I was sad that I missed it. So, okay. Oh, and I know what else I was going to say about the New Mexico. I'm really glad that the president went, because I really think that New Mexico will be in play. I really believe it could go red. I know people say that, it's a Democrat state, it's not going to happen. But these rallies are very telling, because in these lines at these rallies, again, I speak to the people, they're full of Democrats. They're full of Democrats. And there was probably, I would love to have been there and talked to the people last night, but my guess is there were a lot of Democrats in that line. I know there were in El Paso a few 6 or 8 months ago when we were there, because of course El Paso is very close to New Mexico. There were a lot of New Mexicans at the El Paso rally, and in that line there were a lot of former Democrats. So I really believe that New Mexico could go red, and I think the president is wise to be working towards that goal. We know he's no quitter, and if he set his mind on it, my money is on the president that he'll get it. So it's very cool, and I hope that we all work towards that goal to help him in any possible way that we can. want to tell you about, obviously, the books, Just the Tweets. Volume 1 is year 1 of the President's Tweets. Volume 2 is year 2 of the President's Tweets. Volume 3 will be out in the spring of 2020, and it's shaping up to be a very large book. We are already at 300 plus pages. The last volume was 486. I think this one's going to be pushing 500. And so it will be out in the spring of 2020, and we're going to be starting to take pre-orders probably in October. So we'll send out notifications of that during that time. But I want to talk to you about Christmas. Okay, so if you're planning on ordering any of these books, Volume 1 or Volume 2, for Christmas, please do so now, because we sold out last year, and we did get a second shipment, but that shipment, it was very difficult to get those books in the hands of people in time for Christmas, not because we didn't have the books, but because the shipping time was, extra long because of the holidays. So I ask you to please order well in advance if you want to order one of the books, Volume 1 or Volume 2 for Christmas. You could, it'd be wise to order them right now. Then you have it. It's a no-brainer. So just please do that, and you can order them at justthetweets.com. That's justthetweets.com. Let's see. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be in DC next week. It's an event for the advocates for victims of illegal alien crime. I unfortunately know a few people who have lost loved ones to illegal alien crime, and I can't even begin to put myself in their shoes. My brain won't even let me go there. So the very least I can do is try to be there emotionally for emotional support, and I hope that all of us reach out to anyone we know that has been through this. The media oftentimes dismisses them, and it's truly really important that we make sure that these people know that we care. And so if you can attend an event that is in support of the victims of illegal alien crime, I encourage you to do so. And that's what I'm going to be doing next week on the 25th. And I look forward to meeting the men and women and children and families who have lost loved ones. There's a MAGA meetup in Galveston County, my county, on Thursday, the 19th. It begins at 6 p.m. at the Golf Greyhound Park. I really encourage you to go if you're able. Texas is a hot spot, and the Democrats are after us. If they could ever get Texas, they get the country. And so they are putting everything they have into turning Texas blue, and we just can't let it happen. We can't sit on our hands. We can't pretend that this isn't happening. We have to get to work, and we can't expect other people to do it. So please get involved. This event is put on by the Facebook group Galveston County for Trump, and Sandra has worked very, very hard on this event, and I hope that you all will attend and support her. It's a great way to get together and start working together, start planning. I believe the Trump campaign has a representative going as well. I surely hope that the Republican Party of Galveston County is in support of this and is on the ground there as well. They need to be, and I sure hope that they are. So please, again, that is on Thursday the 19th at 6 p.m. at the Golf Greyhound Park. That's about it for right now. Again, don't forget to order your books, justthetweets.com, volumes 1 and volume 2. Pre-orders will begin in October. And thank you again for tuning into my channel. I'm just beginning to grow it, and as my grandson always tells me, I need to ask you to subscribe. So please subscribe to my channel, and we'll talk again soon.